Hey guys, Andy again, the amazing Gen Ray. Yeah, Andy was it happened today. Thanks, CF. That's all I'm going to say, right? I'll get killed. We're going to get a kill for this, aren't we? But
We are.
bugger it, right? Okay. Next point we want to talk about is doubts. Now, this one was previously published in Steel Jack. Jack Dawn, is it Steel Jack Draw then? Oh God, my head's going today. Now, yeah, okay, I'm good. Let's talk to me about this one because this looks like there's a lot going on in this piece to unpack as well. I think it's one of your more emotionally charged pieces in the book, so I'll let you tell me about this.
Absolutely. So this piece actually, I'm glad we put Steel Jack Dot down. It actually got kind of pulled on by about three different magazines, and I was like, no, I only want to give Jason. So Jason Conway is the one who is the editor for Steel Jackdaw, full rights to it because I love Steel Jackdaw and I had to. He's also the person I work with on Crafty Crows. So basically. It's a grand irony piece because it literally was I had stopped writing for a bit and people were like, "Oh, Jem, we haven't seen anything from you in a while." I was like, I'm stuck, I'm blocked, guys, help. And I was
Help,
literally
help.
yeah, help me. So literally I was at my parents' lovely wooden table they had at the time, oh mahogany and fancy, and it got me thinking of like, what does it feel like to be blocked? Well, it's really a experience of dancing with yourself and all your problems and all your, imposter syndromes and bits and bobs. And so this story quintessentially unfolded. And at the time, there was a picture that I'd found, which I think might have actually been an AI picture, um, of a lady and the devil dancing together. And I was like, right, I'm going to tell this story. And as I started to de-ego it a bit and to sort of like tell this story of like a person dancing with the devil of death and theory, and the piece just kind of came out. And it's high drama. It's a big fable, which is a lot like how my writing was right at the start before grief happened. Not actual grief for myself, but like grief that the poem happened. I used to write more fably kind of poems, so my work has changed a lot over the time. And I wanted it to be big and wine heavy and really feel like it's a moment from Bridgerton and all the rest of it because I think when one is got writer's block, especially if you've built an expectation of like your writing and what how quickly you deliver stuff and everything else, it does feel over dramatic. When realistically, it's such a small thing. It's just you talking to you and putting your head back on straight. So I like the big drama of it. I like the fact that it's kind of sold like this great fantasy story about just going, put a pen to paper, something will happen. Um, but yeah, all the metaphors are incredibly dramatic and theatrical.
Yeah,
Very
you can
deliberately.
see your theatre studies background with this piece straight away. You can. I can see the actor in your darling of this one. Like a lot, I can tell this with the acting background when you've got the last line alone. I walk from the ballroom. And there's two full stops on victorious, and I thought that's almost like I don't like swearing in podcasts. That's the big FU side of it, right at the end of it.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah,
Absolutely correct.
yeah. The line that a lot I found interesting as well in this was. The siren of anxiety sings beautifully into a carbon microphone. I thought, where did that image come from? Because that's
Oh yeah.
interesting.
So it's funny, the piece that so I wrote a piece for a friend called The Sign of Anxiety to try and actually cheer her up at the time. And she was still it was like an old friend back in the day. And so it was actually an allusion to a different poem. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna move this character somewhere else. I think the poem might still be on TikTok somewhere. But anyway, so it was illusion. I was like, okay, well, what am I going to do with her? I was like, I want to put her in here because she's relevant too, of like that sing-song voice in your head that tells you that you can't possibly be able to do this thing because, actually, if you don't do it, then you haven't got to put yourself under any stress, and that's probably better for you. And then I was like, okay, well, I'll make her a jazz singer then, which ties to my own experience because jazz singing is something I've done. Um, so yeah, I was like, oh, can I put a joke on a joke on a joke? Of course I can. That's what I do. No one's gonna get it, but I don't care. So literally, she's a reference to a poem that no longer really exists, so I don't have on paper anymore. She's a reference to stuff that I have done, and also I wanted to kind of make a triad here of the three things that can affect. So the self doubt itself, imposter syndrome, who claps politely from the side seats, and then the sign of anxiety combined together to create the blockage, and they all have center stage as the kind of directors of the anxiety itself. So yeah, that's where it came from.
No, no, fantastic. There's not much else I can say about that. It's just a really dramatic, good poem. Now, this is where it gets fun now. We just had a very dramatic poem, and I think the last piece we're going to talk about is probably ups the ante even more. But with this last piece, obviously the title piece of the book itself, you mentioned before, obviously you've done jazz singing. I could see your music backing in with this one, actually. I would probably hip hop more, but I know you've got an interest in hip hop music anyway.
Yes. Oh, nicely found. Yeah, 100%. Um, uh, yeah, Free Roaming Adult Woman, the title piece, both a very direct in joke on Phenomenal Woman by Maya Angelou, and yeah, it very much hip hop inspired piece. I feel like I fail my tонage that I can't rap very well. I'm trying to learn. It's not
Oh,
as easy as what I think it is, but
it's hard work. It's hard work. So I've tried it.
hey,
Yeah.
hey,
I wish I could say I was
um,
shit at it, but what just is the word shit, right?
I'd love to hear you do it, Andy. That'd be
No,
awesome.
no, you don't. No, you don't. It's like me singing country and western, and I'm dreadful at that as well. So, yeah, but I'll see then. Tell us about the inspiration with this piece, and I've got questions to ask you as well.
No problem. So yeah, Free Roaming Adult Woman, like a lot of my pieces, I think in many ways I'm a protest poet. And when I say protest in the sense of like either I get a challenge like what happened with Laurel and they are already trees where it's like, all right, if you're gonna give me that hard to go, I'm gonna go for it. Or as I said, it gets sparked off by someone saying something that really annoyed me. And this is what happened. I said I'd had like five different poets from a certain region of the world, which I won't mention, being very, very, very narrow-minded about what a woman can be and couldn't be and all the rest of it. And I was like, all right then, let's go. And so I wrote in anger, and it came out hip-hop-ish, where I was like, okay, say that stuff to Maya Angelou and see how it would have handled for you. You thank goodness she's dead for you right now, sir, because she would take you down. So I did. I thought, okay, well, what would it be? And the joke in it was this particular persona that I was affecting at the time. I was particularly wearing pinking and was kind of like one of my stage costumes at the time. Um, is not necessarily the aspect of perfect beauty. She isn't the most graceful. She's no ballerina, but she is alive, she is loud, she is me. So I took, and stanza by stanza, there are different elements of funny things about me that friends have mentioned, funny things about me that my parents have teased, and the fact that here is a truly alive woman being her general, honest self and finding a joy in it. So as it progressed, and it took a little bit of development. I developed it over like a couple of days. I then put it up, and it was one of those ones that once again went. Loads of people reacted to it, so I was like, "This is a clearly important poem." And it's funny. There's a poem that actually engages with it, where someone put a comment about like, "Oh, I'd love to." The "Don't Cage Phoenixes" is actually and yet another reference to Maya Angelou, because someone had written on that when I posted it on the poem about like, "Oh, I'd love to kind of have her and take her and do this." I was like, do not touch, get away, back the off. She is not for grabbing. Thank you very much. How dare I also DM the person was like, do that again. I'm getting rid of you. And thus the Free Roaming Adult Woman came out. But the whole point of it is she's not gentle, but she is kind. She is caring. That nurture part is there. She is proud of her mistakes and her issues. And why I think it then became perfect. And I've got to credit where credit's due. The reason it's the last poem in the actual book is my mum suggested it. She said, learning all the acceptance that you mentioned in the book. I'm practically quoting one perfectly here. Surely Free Roaming Adult Woman should go at the end, because if crumbs is the start of not knowing who you are, what you're for, and not being able to connect to your mental health, surely the end point is I'm messy. I might not
Yeah.
put my makeup on perfectly, but I'm human, and that's cool enough. And I was like, Mum, you're a genius. So
No, they always say, listen to your mum. You may not disagree with her. Listen to your mum, and your mum's spot on there. Because the piece itself has got a real vibrant energy about it. And it's the only one that I've spotted in the book, and you might tell me otherwise, is that rhymes as well.
Yes, yes, yes. Deliberate,
Yeah, has to be
deliberate.
because I've seen it with rap music before now. When it's done well with rhyming, it's fantastic. It's a good tip for anybody who wants to rhyme. Learn how to rhyme well. This poem does a fucking good job of it. That's why. So it's like it's. Was it always going to be a rhyming poem?
It wasn't it, like the second adaptation was the one where I was like, no, I'll put some rhyme scheme into it because I mean, one, I my own ear for rhyming isn't always perfect. It's one I'm developing actually a little bit, but part of the reason is that I had so many poets early in their careers who were what I'd call dead end rhyme poems, where love, dove, and they'd literally kneecap their own piece because it was like, well, it must end with a rhyme because that's what I got taught in school. And it's like, no, don't kill the line just for the sake of following what your English teacher you've not met in years said to you. They ain't right, and you can check books in the library right now with lots of artists where they didn't do that, including pieces that have been translated where they rhymed originally. Like the amount of haiku that we read, where actually it rhymes in Japanese, but it doesn't rhyme in English. So
True.
I'm I'm for decoupling and possibly decolonializing poetry to remind people that don't do just because you were taught that in English literature when you were a kid. You know, there's multiple ways of creating rhythm and rhyme. But I'm now coming to a point where I'm actually wanting to add rhyme back in. So Free Roaming Adult Woman in a kind of way was me starting to try and do that and just say to myself, can I? Rhyme Zone, brilliant site. When you go, oh, that does rhyme, that's fine. But yeah, it was deliberate, and also to create though, because it's quite a speedy piece when performed, is to create that speed.
Yeah, it shows it like it's. I'm not going to read it out here because Jen, and we're trying to persuade her to do this in either the poetry section or the TikToks. It's worth hearing. It does. It's you can see it straight away with the lines, the rhythm on it, because the rhyming. It encourages you to go fast. But it's that sort of piece I do because I'm dyspraxic. If I try to do this, I'd trip up, make a twat of myself, and I'm putting it from the
Oh, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, no, brilliant, no, great stuff. Yeah, it's a great, your mum's right. It's a great ending for the book, this as well. And I think as well, it also gives you a hint, and you come on to this in a few moments, what you might be doing next year writing as well. Because I always believe the last poem in the book should give a hint what could be happening next. So, what we'll come on to that in a moment. Before we come on to what's next for you, there's a few bits people need to touch on here very soon as well. Is number one is you're doing a National Trust project at the moment, aren't you? I want to hear all about this, please.
Yeah, so Sunday the 15th of June, we are literally in a National Trust building. It's crazy. So what happened is I wanted to find a way in the last year of bringing my all my theatre experience, all my producing experience in the theatre and my poetry together because I found that there were so many interlinks really, especially in the spoken word film. And Wandsworth Arts Fringe, which is what this is part of, said, we were looking for different artists, we want to expand, and they've basically got the award for Arts London for this year because it changes
Fantastic.
borough every year. And one of the places was a National Trust building, and they said, right, we need to put on, we want to be involved in this, but our space is so fragile because literally it's art from floor to ceiling. The artist, Hanabi Alashi, he was a civil servant, Kenyan born, and he turned his house into a literal piece of art. It is stunning. It's wood panel, it's stories across the walls. It's beautiful. And they're like, we want to be part of this, but we can't get audiences in. It's so fragile. There's a massive risk assessment. Help. So I contacted Laura and said, hey, spoken word artist. He was a poet. Why don't we celebrate a lesser known uh, African British writer, and with a little of an interesting change here because I have excellent female artists of the Black and African diaspora who I want to, promote. And the first thought that came into my head, and she knows this, so this is not a secret to it, is Naima Kamchown, where it was like, I want to put Naima here. She would be amazing. She has such a wonderful vibrato to her voice, the echo down the halls if she performs here. Mishi Mizumi, who is an astounding poet and photographer. Her artwork, her way of seeing art, and her way of doing diagonals and using contrast, if she could film. So I brought a family of women together and said, right, let's make this thing happen. Came to
That's that.
Laura, project plan. So we're going. It's taken about 7 months to put it together, and it really is about lifting. Africa Diaspora. And I say that because it's not purely Black African people, it's a mix of people together to celebrate an artist that we've kind of, I mean, not forgotten, because I think people who know Alashi know him, but I don't think he's celebrated enough and he should be in the British Library. I don't think he is. And so
No, I don't
this
think it is. I
year,
think you're right. I think you're right. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so yeah, that's kind of what came together. So I can't wait. It's only about 3 weeks away, and it's going to be really exciting to do something for an artist in memory, and for artists who I think are very important right now that more people need to be communicating with.
Fantastic. Come to add more to that, definitely. Now, another thing you're involved in as well is improving opportunities for people as well. So this is a more vague question. So tell us about this, and there's a lot. I know you could go on for a while with this, I
That's
suspect.
fine. I'll try and keep it succinct. So yeah, literally exactly like this project. Like when I did the stuff with the Luton, when I did stuff with VPR, I am so about making more opportunities and making sure that I place the ladder behind me if stuff happens. You know, for me, we are a community, a worldwide community, and there are new artists joining all the time, learning, developing, and growing, and doing it page by page. If there are things that I can do, and especially getting into heritage and politics and sociology, and big future dream would be taking on my not master's degree, we've done a master's degree, postgrad and beyond for doctorate, is to make more, because unfortunately what happens, and I find this a lot as a woman, I find this a lot as a biracial person, competing for the same opportunity sucks. More and more of us should be able to do stuff together. The fact that Cheltenham happened yesterday in time of recording, you know, it wasn't just a place of like they had the slam, but it's competing in the sense of joyful competing. It's not one person gets in and the rest of us do. And my organising experience, my theatre experience, and my experience of doing social activism means that I'm dedicated to making sure that the ladder behind me always stays available so that other people can climb up and do the things that matter to them, because otherwise art stops.
Yeah, no, couldn't add more to that. Agreed. Agreed completely with it. So now, obviously, before we come on to what's next for you, obviously one of the things that's next for you, because you're actually guest hosting, aren't you, Crafty Cows on Wednesday, which podcast was going out way after that. And I know you've done this a few events you've guest hosted, haven't you, as well? So tell us about your experience of guest hosting then.
Oh, I love it. I mean, I love doing it with Jason because we're wonderful one two. So like literally I'll be talking on the microphone and he'll be messaging me and I'll be like, cool, got it, great. He's wonderfully organized. I love it. I love organized people. That's what I do. Basically, I it's the same thing, I think, as the previous question. Like I love making opportunity. I love making people feel there's a safe space in which they can perform. I live to improvise, so I will joke, I will tease. There's people who go to Crafty who've got nicknames like Gerald Kells is known as Sir Gerald because he wrote a poem that had a slight um, reference to Sir Arthur, and I was like, right, there we go, you're serving.
First one.
It should, it should be fun because I think there's a lot of stuff out there when it comes to events that are intimidating, especially for new starters, because it's not fun. Everything's very serious or it's very disorganized. So I want people to come in and know that they can play, they can try, they can communicate. I want them to buy each other's books and go to each other's events. So how do you foster community? You create space, but you also let all the heaviness of the spotlight land on you. And for me, once I put the face together, chosen the right costume, and all the rest of it, it kind of a bit like an actor. That part of me just sort of turns on. Um, I can't do it in a hoodie. I have to put on a costume to do it. But I'm there to create a service that means that people feel confident to be the best version of themselves on stage and know that if they need me, I am just to the side. But I've got to admit it, I really enjoy it. It's good fun. And it's great watching
Perfect.
people rise.
Can't agree more. Let's say with podcasting, really, that because like podcasting, what we've done today is a one-on-one gig. People wonder, like, when I see you in Crafty Cows on Wednesdays, I've not seen you do yet, so I'm looking forward to this. You'll be hosting somewhere about, I don't know, 30, 40, maybe 200 people. What's on Zoom? You don't know, do you? So, but yeah, no, it's awesome on levels, yeah. Now, okay, what plans do you have next? You've already told us about what's coming up with this event, haven't you? And also Crafty Cows. Is there anything else on the way you wish to reveal?
Uh, yeah. So I am legitimately starting to work on the next one. I've teamed up with a friend of mine. I won't go into too much detail because it's all very new at the minute. Because I want to write a new book called Ode to Other Women. And the reason it's called that is so many of the odes I've written are references to writers and creatives and people that inspire me and people of history that people have forgotten. Some of my first poetry writing was about that before anything else. But also I've often given presents to friends, which are, here, have a piece of this, and I know you're going through things right now, so here's a piece about your grandmother. And I have so many of those. I was like, well, there's a book in it that anyway. But I want to take those pieces, if I can collate them all together, and recontextualize them because I know there's technical skill in my poetry, and I'm so appreciative of things you've said today. I could be stronger. So I'm going to put myself for the route and like try types of poetry I've never tried before, really challenge myself to get a bit more technical with this book. But it is literally as a celebration of women from across history and time. And even then, actually, it's going to be Odes to Other Women, um, underscore and everyone else, because there's absolutely about men and non-binary people as well. But it's going to be a collation of work that I want to put through again and try again, recontextualize. The other thing, which is not got a date, it's sometime in the long, 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 long future, is I would like to take Free Roaming Adult Woman and turn it into an actual performance piece, a one-woman show.
Ooh,
Because yeah, I've tested it
ooh.
out last year, and it worked better than I thought it would. There's a lot of adaptations and changes. There's quite a friend of mine who would love to actually direct me because he's very, very good. But yeah, I think the stories within the stories would be told even more with monologues and songs and everything else. That is very far in the future right now because my diary is looking a bit full. But
Beautiful.
it's a dream. It's a dream in the future.
That's good to me. Keep us informed. Definitely. I'd love to have you on again today. That's not an issue. So, the last bit of part one, or part two, actually, technically in this case, the hard sell. Oh, it's not a hard sell. You know what I mean? Where can people get hold of your book?
Yes. So right here in my hand. This is what it looks like. Amazon directly. And the reason is because we used Amazon's printing press to do it. And I'm really, really pleased with how it came out from doing so. It isn't yet on any other platform. We are considering that. You can also contact me on my social media if you want a signed copy, which surprisingly has gone down better than I thought it would. It's easier for UK people because I've used InPost and it's a lot cheaper. But yeah, Amazon's the best place. We are looking at sort of future ways of doing it, but at the moment, that's what we use to publish it, and it comes out nicely, so
Sounds
we're good.
good to me. Now, obviously, social media then, if people want to contact you for a signed copy or to book you in for another gig, where do you reckon? How do you, let's get this right in English. How do they approach you?
Best way to do is
Prefer lots of money, but of course, how did they find you, first of all?
Ideally, with this way, my main social media is my Facebook. My Facebook has got all the details about all the dates of where I'm going, what I'm doing, who I'm with, how I'm spending my time. Unfortunately, and it's a whole joke in itself, is Instagram died off a little while back, and they won't let me back in. I don't know what I did to annoy them, but hey, I am creating a Blue Sky and I am creating a Substack, so those will be available soon, and I will make sure to pop them to Andy, for you all. The other thing is you are welcome to email me. So my email address, which is nice and easy for anyone to write, is genevievefray at gmail.com, or GENEVIEVEF Ray, RAY, at gmail.com. That's where people book me for gigs and events and stuff. Please do contact. It would be great to communicate.
Fantastic. Right, everybody, yeah, we're going to take a quick break here anyway. So, and when we come back, Jen's going to do a few pieces for us. It's been a pleasure, my friend. I've really enjoyed this today. I knew I would, right?
It's been brilliant.
Okay, guys and girls, yeah, and everybody, whatever. So that's it, part two now. As Don Callis over at AEW Wrestling says, stay safe, stay home. And we'll see you all